is how most of what we now know as Pangani area looked like in the late 1890s. Pangani Estate lays claim to being among Nairobi's oldest African suburbs, settled even before the arrival of the railway line in 1899. The area's first settlers, a group of women, mostly widows and unmarried girls from Kiambu County, believed to have been fleeing from domestic violence and banishment. The women would find a home in the hilly place, setting up grass-thatched houses and helping Mau Mau fighters seeking liberation at the battlefront within the Karura forest. Due to their growing numbers, Pangani became known as Nairobi's lodging quarters in the 1920s and 1930s. By 1929, it is believed that Pangani had 312 housing units, mostly owned by women. These are the same women who would throw their weight behind the man who later came to be known as the father of Kenyan nationalism, a feminist advocate, and the first man in Kenya to lead a protest against the white settler dominance. Harry Thuku was popularly vocal about the government's doubling of the hat and pole taxes, reduction in African wages, oppression by tribal police, and forced labor of women and children. It was this last grievance that particularly led women to support Thuku. African chiefs were ordered by the colonial authorities to seek out women and girls to work on European plantations whose owners deliberately ignored the documented evidence of the indignities suffered by these women and girls. So, when Harry Thuku was finally arrested in March 1921, it came as no surprise that women, many of whom resided in Pangani at the time, led a demonstration to Nairobi's Central Police Station for his release. The demonstration turned deadly when colonial officers opened fire at the crowd, killing at least 21 people, most of them women. The colonial government panicked that an already angry African population would kickstart a revolution from Pangani and therefore demolished all the houses in the area in 1938, and the bulk of its remaining residents forcibly relocated to a new estate, Shauri Moyo. The evicted Africans were replaced by Asians, most of them former railway contractors, reinforcing the racial residential housing code at the time. But not many Pangani residents know that bit of history. Today, the estate has become a modern metropolis, embracing a blend of racial and ethnic diversity. SONALI GHOSH's family was the first to move into the old Pangani City Council estate when it was constructed back in the late 1920s. She is now a third-generation tenant whose father-in-law, the initial tenant of the house, helped her pass down the tenancy through nearly 8 decades.
Now, since I am here over 40 years, so I really love this place. Though there is no maintenance, but no complaint, because I really love this place.
Sonali's neighbor, Hellen Wanjiru, may not have moved here when the houses were completed in the 1920s, like Sonali's father-in-law, but she brags of having lived here since 1967. Back then, a newly married woman, she was raising her children in this very household where she says she hopes to spend the rest of her years. The two women are among the oldest residents of the estate and tell of a time when Pangani's scenery was one admired by all city residents.
I enjoy staying in this flat. Even I can't stay in my daughters, they have children, they want me to stay there. But I can't. I feel so, at home when I come in this flat. I really love this place.
Pangani ni mahali hata ukitaka kwenda town na mguu utaenda. ni karibu sana. Na Pangani ilikuwa mzuri zaidi. Wacha saa hii sasa sio kama ile Pangani ya zamani. Tulikuwa kuja wanatukatia takataka, wanatukatia hii kitu inaitwa nyasi. Kama kuna shida yote ya maji, sewage, walikuwa wanatufanyia vizuri sana.
But those days are long gone. Now, residents of the old city council estate now have to do with the maintenance of the area on their own. Towering building blocks are now the new face of Pangani. Nearly every corner you turn, you spot a new housing complex under construction. But amidst the newborn structures, sadly stands an old boy. This restaurant, the AA Mithalwalla, started by ALIBHAI Mithalwalla, a Bohra Muslim from India who relocated to Kenya in the 1930s to begin a candy shop. The place is now run by Mithalwalla's grandson, HUSSEIN ALIBHAI.
We make fresh every few days. Yes. You have to try.
Yeah, this one. I love this.
Yeah?
I really do.
Ours is always fresh. We don't put any preservatives to put in supermarkets. That's why we're famous.
The restaurant serves up arguably Nairobi's most desired Asian confectionery, including today's special treat, the jalebi.
I don't know if you like sweet things.
I'm not a sucker for sweet stuff.
But this is a very special dish, and that ingredient has been passed on from my grandfather. So it continues, the same mixture continues, you keep mixing the same mixture. You add flour, and it's sort of a fermented dish.
Oh, that's interesting. I sit down with HUSSEIN for a chat at his grandfather's age-old restaurant that is now more of a heritage site rather than a business venture for the residents of Pangani.
We've passed through many generations, and from what I hear, I've seen old people coming and telling me about how they used to come when they were kids. And my grandfather would give them a sweet, for free. So every kid who would come into the shop would get a free sweet. And now those guys are old enough to be my grandfather. When they come here, it's thrilling that our shop has been through all that. It's quite amazing. So he introduced one item, noticed people like it, and he had the know-how how to cook. So he kept introducing items to what you see right now. So his hand in cooking was excellent, and everyone loved it. From the Asian community, any auspicious occasions, they must have this. It is called Malai Khaja.
Malai Khaja.
Malai Khaja. It's a pastry with a milk filling.
It's the excellent services that have sustained the business for this long, attracting even students visiting the nearby Liberty Cinema. The old structure still stands more than 50 years after its construction. The cinema was used mainly by Asian settlers to watch films and plays during the pre- and post-colonial era. Did you ever visit?
Yes,
Did you ever go
yes,
to
yes,
watch
yes.
a film there?
Yes, I have. In my time, I have. My parents have watched many stage shows here, and lots of films at that time.
How much was the entry fee?
Oh, at that time I don't remember. I was very young, but at that time you could count yourself in shillings. You'd be okay.
Now, the cinema hall is used by students from as far as Embu County to watch set-book plays acted at this stage for academic benefits. The cinema is currently owned by Daniel NJOROGE on an additional 5-year lease after the initial 10-year lease he had for the place expired in 2018.
Hii mjengo inaweza host how many people? How many people can sit here?
Wale ukaa hapa inakuanga 800 na huko juu 250.
So hii jengo inaweza kubeba kama
watu
1000.
1000.
Na inatumika kila siku ama?
Inategemea. Tuseme sasa ile tuko na set book. Sasa hiyo ndio tunakuanga na kazi mingi.
Daniel was a set designer at the Kenya National Theatre before buying this place to enhance his love and passion for the arts. Nearly every weekend witnesses an influx of students visiting the cinema. Pangani's growth no doubt continues even as the community here seeks to preserve structures that tell a proud story of the area's journey, like these 2-bedroom flats that rent out for 10,000 shillings a month. Whether or not that journey will continue in prosperity or in despair can only be dictated by those who choose to call this place home.
We're brought up like family. Pangani has become family to us.
Saa hii tunataka usaidizi ya barabara ya Fairview Road. Hii inaitwa Fairview Road. Barabara ina mashimo mingi, inataka iwe kama city.
Kwa nini Pangani is best? Pangani best. Ukienda West Lane huku utasikia mabomu, mara utasikia nini, mara utasikia watu wanakufa.
Now it is only, I think, 10% Asians are here, and the rest is 90% African. Yes.
It's been a pleasant place to live. The environment is first class, and actually I've brought up my children here. You can see that the planning that was done then was very good.
Hata nyumba tulikuwa tunalipa pesa kidogo, lakini sasa hata hakuna kitu tunafanyiwa na nini, tunafanyiwa sisi wenyewe ndio tunaangalia estate. Hata kama nyumba yako iko na shida, wewe mwenyewe ndio utatafuta fundi atengeneze choo, akatie wewe nyasi, kila kitu. Kwa hivyo hatuwezi kusema ni kama ya zamani ilikuwa mzuri.
For area code, I am Timothy Otieno.